We are the restaurant brokers, and we sell restaurants.
We started the nation's largest restaurant brokerage firm over a decade ago.
Atlanta, Georgia was our starting point, but our brand is spreading nationwide. We define restaurant brokerage and help buyers just like these.
Our dream, our goal, open up a restaurant, loving life, serving people breakfast and lunch, and then enjoying the rest of the day with them and ourselves.
Buying an existing restaurant, leasing a closed restaurant space, or purchasing a restaurant franchise. We help buyers satisfy their appetite for acquisition.
I'm part of a husband and wife team with this fella.
Working with my wife has been a lot of fun. The ultimate goal for everybody here is to make this work. And because we have different strengths, we bring different angles to the deal.
The process begins with our powerhouse website, WeSellRestaurants.com, where buyers sign online confidentiality agreements and browse restaurants for sale.
Then we send buyers undercover to check out a restaurant and decide if it's the right one for them.
Buyers get our proprietary business analysis tool with all the financial details on the business for sale.
After studying the restaurant inside and out, it's back to our office.
We are deal makers. We write contracts and negotiate terms for buyers and sellers. That's why we sell more restaurants than any other firm in the nation. We are the restaurant brokers. Our name says it all. I'm Robin Gagnon.
And I'm Eric Gagnon, and we sell restaurants. We started the nation's largest restaurant brokerage firm, We Sell Restaurants, over a decade ago. You can find us online at WeSellRestaurants.com.
We're also on your radio once a week with the leading authorities in the restaurant business, talking about subjects trending in this great industry. Tweet your questions while we're on the air to our Twitter handle. It's @SellRestaurants. Make sure you post to our Facebook page, facebook.com/WeSellRestaurants. If we don't get to your questions, we'll follow up on social media.
Our goal is to satisfy your appetite for acquisition, feed the need for restaurant reality, and serve up a recipe for business success. If you have any ideas or any topics you'd like for us to put on the show, send me an email. My email is Eric, E-R-I-C, @WeSellRestaurants.com.
Today, the restaurant brokers are talking to James Beard Award nominees or winners. The James Beard Award, well, it's like the Oscars for the restaurant industry. It's one of the most prestigious awards known to this field. These guests have made outstanding contributions to food, whether it was setting new trends, innovating new ideas, or perfecting their craft. We're hearing it straight from those nominees or award winners on what it's like to be nominated, how their lives have changed, and what new things are happening in their careers now. Join us as we talk to James Beard nominees and winners.
And our first guest today is Justin Woodward. Justin is executive chef at Castagna. Woodward arrived in Castagna in 2009 from New York's WD-50, where he worked under pastry chef Alex Stupak at WD-50. Prior to this, he gained experience at world-class restaurants as Noma in Denmark and Mugratis restaurant in San Sebastian, Spain. This influence has culminated in his current direction, cuisine that is seasonal and progressive. He introduced this concept by surprising his guests with common and uncommon ingredients. Justin, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
Okay, and our next guest is J.J. Johnson. J.J. is executive chef of the Cecil in Harlem, New York. Johnson studied at the Culinary Institute of America, giving a technical backbone to a well-laid foundation of food love. He went on to hone his skills in some of New York's most esteemed kitchens. He's certainly always in search of new flavors. He spent time in Ghana studying West African cuisine and cooking at Villa Monticello, Ghana's premier luxury boutique, hotel, and spa. JJ, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Good, and to round up our panel today, our other guest is Frank Fronda. Frank is Chief Culinary Officer at Echo and Rig Butcher and Steakhouse and Principal of Restaurant Group The Goat LLC. Fronda is a first-generation Italian-American from Brooklyn. Fronda's restaurant experience ranges from Paleo and the Metropolitan Opera House in New York to Napa Valley Grill in Paramus, New Jersey, where he earned a 2-star review from New York Times and a 3-star review in New Jersey Magazine, naming it Restaurant of the Year. He also led the kitchen at one of the highest Zagat-rated restaurants in Los Angeles, Cafe Del Rey at the Four Seasons, Beverly, Wilshire. Frank was invited to appear as a featured chef at the James Beard House by the age of 23. Fronda has since been acknowledged at the James Beard Foundation 4 times in 2000, 2001, 2002, and 2006. It was a James Beard acknowledgement that attracted international interest for Fronda's expertise and services all over the world. Frank, so glad to have you here today.
Oh, what a pleasure to be here.
Okay, so we heard that Frank has been nominated, I guess, 4 times, 2000, 2001, 2002, and 2006. So, JJ, tell us about your brush with fame with the James Beard Foundation.
I was just nominated this year for Rising Star, semi-finalist. I didn't make it to the finalist round, but it was an amazing experience. I got letters in the mail. We did a James Beard wall. I had a lot of supporters out there. I really hope I did. I was wishing to make it into the finals. It's like a dream, something you dream about from culinary school. But it is an honor just to be on the long list, and it was with a great group of chefs.
Absolutely. A rising star. How exciting. Okay, Justin, what about you?
Yeah, so this year I'm a finalist in the Best Chef Northwest category. It's really an amazing honor. I'm just happy to be a finalist with the few other people. It's a huge honor. I was very happy to find out I was on a finalist this year.
Great.
Good. And Frank, what about you? Well, how's that been? Are you in there this year?
No, unfortunately, I'm not in there this year. The 4 times that I've been acknowledged, it's been always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Just never got all the way through. But it's an amazing and a thrilling experience to be acknowledged.
I understand that. Actually, 4 times is really quite amazing. So I've heard it compared to the Oscars. Is that what you guys think when you hear James Beard? Is that like the tip and the top of your culinary career? I mean, there's a lot of showmanship and a lot of television exposure and shows that are out there that, talk about chefs, but this is really the serious top of your game kind of competition, isn't it? JJ, maybe you want to take that first.
I mean, for me, I was a guy that was really not known on the culinary world, and then was the chef in this restaurant called the Cecil, cooking food that nobody heard about, and to really cook flavor at a high level and get people in the restaurant and them start writing about it. I mean, it's the highest thing. So when I saw my name on that list for semifinalists, it was like, whoa, I almost jumped out of my window in my apartment. That's how excited I was. I actually screamed so loud my super came and knocked on my door to make sure everything was okay. So yeah, I look at it as the the Oscars of the food world. It is a really high honor, and you really go against some of the best people in the, for me, for Rising Star, you're going against the country. So when you see your name on the list with people that have Michelin stars or 3 stars in the New York Times, or guys' restaurants or girls' restaurants that you read about that you want to go check out, and you're on that same list with them, it's like an honor. It's like this warm, butterfly feeling. But then you also say, when you come walk into work the next day, you're like, all right, I got to bring my A game every day now. Even if you're doing it, you have to remind yourself, there's no days to screw up.
That's a great story right there. And let me ask you this. Maybe Frankie can start with you on this one. What does it take to become a James Beard nominee?
Well, simply put, it takes a lot of focus, determination, and experience. You really have to rely on every single one of your senses and your street smarts. To be quite honest with you, it's like JJ mentioned, it is it's the Oscars. But maybe I could even put it a little bit further. If you get there, it's like hitting a home run at the bottom of the 9th of the World Series to win the series. I mean, it is out of control. But in order to get there, you really have to be on point and focused and really understand the food that you're putting out. But it's not just food; it's the entire package. It's the front of house and the back of house coming together and understanding the organizational processes and position and progression through the entire restaurant. It's not about one person. It's about leadership, belief, and will, and putting that all into your staff and having them push forward together. It truly is. It's a team effort. It's not just the chef. It's the entire staff, the entire building with the same belief pattern.
So pull back for us the curtains a little bit and share. So when do you know? Do you know before it's announced publicly? Do you know that you're kind of being scoped out for this? I mean, what's the inside skinny?
No.
You know when everybody knows.
No. They're like one of the only awards, and I know all you guys know is they just dropped the list.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
So you find out when we find out, basically, when the press release goes out,
Yeah.
you guys are like, oh, my name's on that list. How cool is this?
Did your Twitter accounts and your phones just start blowing up when the word came through, Justin? Was that how it was for you?
Yeah, I was actually, I just landed in San Francisco. I was going to go eat at Bennu restaurant, and, I turned my phone off airplane mode, and all of a sudden there was it just blew up. It was pretty cool, like my Twitter feed and just everything. It was lots of people congratulating me, and then it was really amazing. It was a lot of fun. It's a cool way to kind of find out about it.
Great.
How about you, JJ? Was it the same experience?
Yeah, I mean, so my buddy Chris Combs owns the restaurant in Boston. He's like texting me the night before. He's like, I think you're going to get on the list. I think you're going to list. I'm like, hey, man, I hope I get on the list, but I'm not really sure. And then they didn't tell anybody what time the list was coming out. So if you're like on Twitter, you're like looking, some people are saying 12, some people are saying 10. And then I feel like the James Beard website like crashed because so many people were looking at it. And then you just kind of like scroll down the paper. I scrolled on my iPad, like scrolling down, and then you see names, you see friends' names, like, oh yes, they're on the list, and then you kind of like see your name, and it just kind of takes over. It's just like I don't know, I can't explain it.
Yeah, I definitely got that like warm butterfly feeling as well.
Yeah,
it kind of takes over your body. It's crazy.
Wow. So I guess, people are saying, oh, you'll be on there. I'm just curious. I wonder if they're betting on it in Vegas. They bet on everything else. Are they handicapping chefs to show up on the James Beard list? I don't know.
I spend a lot of time in Vegas. I haven't seen that one on the list on the board yet. But
that'd be a good one, though. That'd be a good one.
It would be, wouldn't it?
We got a new business model here. So tell us after it happened, because Frank, you've had this happen 4 times. What was it? A turning point in your career? What happened after that in terms of the award may have come and gone for that year, but the excitement and the energy around your career, how did that stay engaged with you, and what did it mean for you in terms of your business dynamic?
Well, for me personally, it really allowed me to understand how focused I need to be. I understood that I have to constantly apply pressure to myself and hold myself to the highest standard and focus on the KPIs of the business, the key performance indicators, revenue, labor, cost of goods sold, controllables, and service aspect, service intent, and just really put together a leadership program for everyone to follow, understand, and work through. Lots of people have come into the restaurant since, and once they see that kind of acknowledgement, they have a very high level of expectation, and in order to get to that next level, in order to get to the finalists, the nominations, and if forever get to the winning aspect of it, you really have to keep moving and progressing and moving forward. And again, like I mentioned before, you can't do it alone. So it taught me how to be better. It made me be better.
I love that. It taught you how to be better. It made you better. Did you agree with that, Justin? You're fresh off the list now, right?
For me, we had a little business bump when it came out, and I spent some time talking to a few people, and they're really excited. It's almost like the community wins. They're super excited. They're happy to be involved. So it's been really great. It's been a lot of fun.
I want to ask you guys a question, because we know about James Beard, and a lot of chefs know about it, restaurateurs, people in the public, but How does this work? Is this like a secret society and people come and secret shop you? Ought to even be like considered, there's regional awards, there's national awards. I don't know if you guys can explain a little bit the process, and then, how does this materialize, to end up on the list? Frank,
it's like a rumor. It's a rumor. Everybody tells us this is how it works. This is what we do. Marcus tells me, hey, everybody that has won a James Beard Award gets 2 votes in the semifinalists in each category, and then in the finalists they get 1 vote. And then there's people that they kind of like grandfather in because they're like old school G's. So like Gail Green, she'll vote, or somebody that has a super impact on the industry over years. They're allowed. So no, I don't know. I don't really know. It's just going by what everybody has wanted.
I have no idea.
It's a state secret. If you knew, they'd have to shoot you, right?
Wow. So this is like, there's no really rhyme or rhymeries. Like, it's like you just like keep doing, push hard, and hopefully somebody will show up, right?
It's a secret society.
That is very interesting. That's a very, very interesting thing. 'Cause I know there was a local chef here in the Atlanta market, and we work with them, and he says, I think I'm being chopped to be a nominee. And my first reaction was like, okay, if you actually are going to be cooking in New York at the James Beard Foundation, I want to be the guy cutting your vegetables. He said, deal. I just want to be part of the experience because, it was so great. But you're right. It is a local, it's a pride to, know somebody that he's even been thinking that he's been, approached or considered for this award.
So let's change gears a little bit because we focused so much on the award, but really what got you here is just your passion for the food, your belief, your artistry, your dedication to the business. So as other young chefs listening to the show are paying attention, what would you tell them? Do you set your goals that James Beard Award has to be in my future, or do you let the passion drive you to develop the best cuisine possible, and then that leads? It's kind of a chicken or egg scenario. And Justin, what do you think?
Yeah, I think you definitely should not even think about winning any awards. You just cook the kind of food you want to cook. Make sure you gain a lot of knowledge. Make sure that you're serving, delicious food. Focus on what's in front of you and don't really worry about awards. That's what I do.
Love that answer. What about you, JJ?
You kind of put it in the air and say, hey, this is a goal. For me, I put it in the air and say, this is a goal of mine. And I'm going to strive for this. And again, like that leadership, pushing the team, bringing everybody together, and just trying to cook at the highest level possible, and hopefully that you'll get there.
Good. Frank, what about, creating new dishes? You've been a lot of places and different restaurants. Well, how do you get yourself always refreshed, to keep pushing yourself, to find new dishes, to find things that have mass appeal and things of that matter? How do you motivate yourself in that matter?
I motivate myself in that manner by doing a couple of things. First, lots of reading, lots of travel, but I also do this thing I call OOE with a couple chef friends of mine. And what OOE is we go to restaurants and searching for inspiration, and we order one of each of everything on the menu.
Love it.
Justin, I'll come into your restaurant and I'll say, give me OOE, one of each, and I'll try not to be to be a glutton, because we want to see everyone's inspiration. We want to be inspired by your inspirations, understand your palate, understand your flavors, and that helps me grow on a daily basis. So, one of each, taking a few bites of everything, being inspired by a master is inspirational to me.
That is fantastic. Frank, what about you? Where do you find inspiration? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I misspoke there, JJ. Okay. How about you? Where do you find inspiration? Because you're the young gun, right?
Yeah, I'm the young gun. I kind of just find, going back to that thing, like you have to use all 5 of your senses. That's inspiration. And I'm also cooking this new cuisine that nobody's really familiar with. So it's an inspiring cuisine. It's Afro-Asian cuisine. So I find actually inspiration from chefs. I love to go out to eat, and I kind of want to see food through other chefs' eyes. I want to see what you're doing, because if you just kind of stay trapped in your own kitchen and you think that you're the only one doing something great, you kind of fall behind the trends. So I kind of find inspiration through the industry. And then I'm also like a self-motivator. I kind of like self-motivate myself. I push myself to the limit. And I want to be, everybody doesn't want to be the best. I kind of want to be the best. So I would say that's how I motivate, kind of like the motivation around it.
So you're competitive, Justin. What about you?
Yeah, I'm pretty competitive as well. I mean, going back to that butterfly feeling, and I won like a gold medal in a American Culinary Federation competition, and like ever since then, I've just been like super competitive with myself and the people that are around me. So this is a big deal for me. I'm really excited to be going to Chicago this year.
That's great. So that inspires you to work with that the American team and kind of create and push things to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, 2013, my old boss Wiley Dufresne, he won the regional Best Chef New York, and so if I could win it, it would be just amazing for me. It'd be a really pivotal point in my career.
I think any chef would say that and totally agree. So let me ask each one of you, because you're trendsetters, what is really on trend for you? And I got to go back first to JJ. What is Afro-Asian cuisine? We got to know more. Our listeners want to understand that.
So Afro-Asian cooking is a study of the African diaspora. It's basically taking food from Morocco down into Ghana, Senegal, Nigeria, to the Western African coast, and basically how food kind of migrated through slave trade. So you'll see things on the menu like cinnamon-scented guinea hen, or using like a light Indian curry, or fonio, which is an ancient African grain, which is part of the millet family, or doing peri-peri, which is in Ghana, Accra, when I was there cooking, is like a rub, but I take it to elevation and do it as an emulsion. And then through time, there was migrant workers that came from China and Vietnamese. So you see a lot of Chinese in Ghana and a lot of Vietnamese in Senegal that has influenced the food. So you see some of those cooking notes through the food that we're doing at the Cecil. And it's fun. It's the big, bold flavors.
Do you see this as a big mass appeal? I mean, this is very new. I mean, that's the first time I hear about it myself. And do you see this as becoming a broad appeal, a mass appeal, or this is something that you're doing and you think that's specific to your cooking style? And
no, actually starting to see things on people's menus. I mean, it's very specific to my cooking style. Yeah, like that's like my foundation, I want to say, in my cooking. But I'm starting to see like notes of certain things that I never saw on chefs' menus before. That I might maybe have stemmed from me, or I brought the awareness to it, so they're also looking into it. So
I think that inspiration is definitely out there for other chefs. We just interviewed recently the author of the Trend Report for the industry, and I think some of those unusual spices that came through those same shipping lanes that you were just describing are, part of what they're seeing industry-wide. So it becomes like this Frank's OOE experience, one of each, and then a chef gets inspired and they take a little bit. It's almost like a bee pollinating in a garden. There's a little bit, an undernote you taste here and a bit you take there, and before you know it, you've invented a whole new cuisine. And that's just terribly fascinating, and it's what gets all of us that love this industry so excited about it. We're thrilled this morning. We have James Beard Award nominees, Justin Woodward from Castagna, J.J. Johnson from the Cecil, and Frank Fronda from Echo and Big Butcher Steakhouse. This is Eric and Robin Gagnon with the Restaurant Brokers. Stay tuned. We'll be back after a short break. In the meantime, remember, you can find us online at WeSellRestaurants.com. Take a brief time out. Like us on Facebook. We're at Facebook.com, We Sell Restaurants. Follow us on Twitter. We're at Sell Restaurants. Of course, we've got our own YouTube channel and LinkedIn. We're out there, too. This is your industry authority and source for information, and we'll be right back after this very brief timeout.